Hey guys, how's it going? Well, got a couple more gun videos I thought I'd throw in. It's getting winter time and the weather's not quite cooperating, so I thought I'd get a couple of these babies out. And I'll try and do a more full video on these if you want. But this is a real nice piece here. It's a 38 Special. Let's see if I can't get that angled up right. Police Positive in nickel finish. Colt really did a beautiful job on this. You can see on the trigger they've made it nice and smooth, but they didn't polish it. Yet they did polish the sides. This is on a D-frame, as is this Detective Special here. I'll put the two side by side. This, I think, is probably, well, it's one of my favorite guns, just because of the size and just because of the style. I do like the Pythons. My Pythons are beautiful, but as far as a gun that you can really get some use out of, and I'm not saying you can't with a Python by any means. If you want to shoot the Pythons, by all means do. That's what they were made to do. That's what all these guns were made to do. This one is the Model 19 Smith & Wesson. But let's go ahead and go on with this Colt. What got me into collecting these handguns were the exacting tolerances that I noticed that were built into these guns. And with power, you have to have exacting tolerances. But they just seem to get it right with Colts. The rifling on the barrel, it's just a beautiful gun. This does have a small crack right here. And while I did consider putting walnut grips, which I do have replacement grips, those on here, I really don't want to do that because these grips are just fine the way they are. Nice polished back strap. And then you get down to the serrations. Colt just did a beautiful job all the way down. It's a little piece of, there we go. It's a 4-inch. And again, it is on the D-frame, which makes these two guns pretty much the same. I think I'm going to do one gun at a time on this. The real guns that I haven't really gone into is the Bodyguard Airweight. and I will in another video. And this is just a classic piece, and it's just beautiful. You can see the stamping along it. There's no red ramp. This was made before all that was even a concern. And don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against red ramps, but these are just classic revolvers. And I just get lost in the craftsmanship of these guns. This gun has been fired quite often. It's well taken care of. Very tight lockup. You can see even on the tip of the ejector, they did a high polish of the nickel. You can see the crane. And of course the numbers. It's just a beautiful weapon. I'm very partial to Colt handguns. I do love Smith & Wessons, but when it comes to Colts, I love the Pythons, I love the Diamondbacks, I love the Woodsmans, I love the Detective Specials, the Viper. They've made so many nice ones. This is the Smith & Wesson that you've seen in some of my other videos. This is an older Smith & Wesson. See if I can't get a little bit of light on there. Lighting's not up to par right now. That's a steel 38, as is this one. The Detective Special and the Chief Special kind of ride hand in hand. When you want to get into the alloy frame, alloy frame guns, you can look into the Bodyguard. I think I'll just make this one video. I may do a separate one later, but as time permits. This Bodyguard really kicks hard. It's got the shrouded hammer built into the frame. And I used to think it was the ugliest gun I've ever seen. I was never too keen on it. But there was a show called Charlie's Angels where they used these, and somehow I started to like it a little bit more. But alloy frame guns will kick very hard. This is a Colt Cobra. The wood grips on it are very nice. See the rampant Colt. They're just beautiful guns. People say I whisper in my videos sometimes, but when it comes to guns I kind of get lost in the in the moment of these guns. But this is the old Colt Cobra. Now they make a King Cobra, and I do have a 6-inch King Cobra, which is made off of a different frame. I believe it's made off the same frame that the Lawman's made off of. As you can tell here, they serrated the trigger here, as did, I believe, Smith & Wesson. Theirs were a little bit closer together than the Colts. Colts just seem to have, well, I'm not going to say it because there's a lot of people who are really diehard fans of Colt. I mean of Smith & Wessons. I just prefer the I prefer the Colt design just a little bit more than I do over the Smith & Wessons, but the Smith & Wesson revolvers are beautiful. There's nothing bad that I can say about a Smith & Wesson. They work, and they work very well, and they're very effective in what they do. I do have the grips for these. This is a Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum in Model 19. And when you compare that type of frame to this type of frame, it's quite a bit bigger gun. It's a lot heavier, I'll tell you that much. And there is a big difference between the weight of this gun and the weight of the Cobra, as is the regular Chief and the Bodyguard Airweight. Bodyguard Airweight is beautiful. Yeah, as time has gone by, I've definitely taken a liking to this revolver. I don't enjoy shooting it, but it's got a classic appeal all its own. And you know, with all these handguns, they make the tolerances so tight, and you can see them on here very well because you can see the contrast in the bluing. They're just so exacting. You can still cock the hammer. And there is no transfer bar on this. It's a pinned hammer. The lockup on these guns are rock solid. I do have very nice holsters that go with them. I prefer to keep these in the classic Lewis holsters. This one I just picked up for this Police Positive. I think it fits in there like a glove. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you had a nice Christmas. As far as radio videos, I'll get those out as time permits. I hope everybody's going to have a nice New Year and prosperous and all of that. And if you want to see any more of any particular one of these firearms, you can let me know. The cuts and the serrations on these are just beautiful. The Cobras do kick, and you shouldn't ever run plus P rounds through a Cobra due to their frame. And really, I really wouldn't want to run hot rounds through, plus P rounds through the Smith & Wesson 38s either. There's not that much point in it unless you're using it as a carry defensive round, maybe. But they make pretty effective rounds these days to take care of that. But anyway, hope everybody's doing well. I hope you enjoyed the video. And hey, that's one that you haven't seen. I figured I'd go ahead and get that one out, and of course the Bodyguard Airweight. And I suppose this would be quite a bit heavier. Quite a bit heavier with a steel frame. They make a lot of different variations on this, and all of them, even the modern ones that have the key that goes in, that people seem to hate, those firearms are very, very good firearms. But these are just classics. These are pretty much before all the regulation came into effect, and all the whiners and all the complainers got into the picture. It's back when things were simple. The Colt Pythons are just beautiful guns, but these are just as beautiful as well. The Viper is one gun I wish I would have gotten. But I would also like to have a Python Hunter 8-inch with Leopold sights and a Halliburton case. Wouldn't that be beautiful? $1,200 is all they wanted for that back in the 80s. These guns could be had at a pretty good price. You could walk in, pick one up, lay a little bit of money down, and walk out with it. No muss, no fuss. Times have changed. It's a shame. I'm not a big fan of the keys that go in here, and you know, the different mechanisms for safety and all the excessive stamping that gun manufacturers put on steel these days. I kind of wonder, you know, it seems to me that it's so excessive that I don't know if it's the intellect that has gone down or what. I don't, and I, you know, for those who are younger, that's not a slam, that's just a kind of a question. I don't know if that's what they're thinking, but Ruger especially just excessively stamps just about every safety warning right onto the steel. And that's a shame, because, you know, these guns are beautiful and they're works of art. But, you know, one guy shoots his foot off and, you know, in a drunken stupor, and get out the stamps and start pounding them into the steel. If they can't read the instruction manual, we're going to have to put it on the gun. These were made at a time when that didn't exist. People shot themselves in the foot. They patched it up. The doctors told them to quit whining. kicked them in the ass and sent them on their way. And they learned a valuable lesson. I doubt if many people make the same mistake twice when it comes to shooting themselves in the foot. But Barney Fife did it several times. Andy kept having to take away his bullet. Yeah, those were the days. A little bit of Smith & Wesson, a little bit of Colt for you. I hope this video wasn't too long, and I hope you enjoyed it. Detective Special, steel, police positive, 4-inch, both 38s, 357 Magnum Model 19, 2.5-inch barrel, 357 Magnum if I didn't say so. This is the Chief Special, 38 Special, 2-inch barrel. This is a Colt Cobra. One of the light pieces in Colt's arsenal. And believe me, when you put a stiff round into one of these, I've got several of these. Believe me, you don't want to be shooting that very much with hot rounds. And especially this one. This one's really, really light, but it's just beautiful. But hot rounds may be fine for some weapons, but you need to take into consideration the tolerances, and you can't exceed the tolerances that the factories built these guns for, because you can do damage to yourself, you can do damage to people around you, you can do damage to the firearms, and it's just not a good idea. But I don't know if some people know that. That may be why they put excessive stamping on guns today. I'm just glad they didn't do it on these. The Rampant Horse. Just the facts on these guns. I tell you, there's a lot of people who would love to go back in time and pick some of these guns up, including myself. Take a tour of their factories. Trying to give you as much camera time on this as possible. The hand cannon. And it is a beast. And then the vintage holsters. You guys take care. Hope all's well, and later on.